Hey guys, welcome to this week's track guide. This week we're at Belle Isle, one of my favourite tracks on the calendar this season. Hopefully we'll get some better racing at this track this week than we have done for the past 2 weeks, in my opinion anyway. So before we get into it guys, I just want to say thank you very much for watching these videos. Last week's track guide had over 1,500 views and over 100 likes on the video, which is just bonkers. So thanks very much for watching. With that said, if this video helps you out, please remember to hit the like button on this video as well. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please scroll down just below the video and hit the subscribe button as well. Weather this week then, guys. The track is a lovely cool 19 degrees. Much cooler than last season, hence why the lap times are a lot faster. The date and time set to what the official sessions are going to be set to next week. And on to the setup. Current setup I'm using is 54% brake bias, minimum tyre pressures all round, 8 on the anti-roll bar as ever, fuel 7.9 for Qually, 11.8 for the race. And the SPO this week is currently on a 0. I set this lap time using a 0. Depending on how the track is this week and how the races go, I will probably lower the car to a +3 on the SPO. As you guys know, I like the car as low and as stable as I can get it. It's just this track is very bumpy. Depending on the races go, I will probably go to a +1, 2, and a +3 at the very most. If you go any more than that, you will start getting damaged wings and so on. If you guys keep an eye on the Twitch streams, remember I stream 5 days a week. Just pop in there when I'm live streaming and I'll tell you what I'm currently using. Or I'll keep you all updated on the Discord as well. Onto the guide then. The lap I'm going to show you this week is a 1:42.248. I did make a couple of mistakes on this lap, so I've just missed out on the 1:41s, but definitely expect the sort of times to be this week in the 1:41s. Okay then, as we're crossing the start-finish line here at the start of the lap, coming up towards turn 1. Keeping the car over to the left-hand side of the track as far as you can. Looking at this 300-meter board and this bit of tarmac here. So where the road that goes into this darker grey is where I'm using as my first brake marker for turn 1. So as we come up, as we hit it, you see it's starting to lift off and starting to use the brakes. Going from 5th gear down into 3rd. You can drop it to 4th and delay the downshift in the 3rd again. It might gain you a little bit of time. But I prefer to immediately go from 5th down into 3rd gear. You don't have to worry about doing that mid-corner. As we're turning in towards the corner, and touching a little bit of curb here with this wheel. You don't really want to use a whole lot of curb because it'll tend to unsettle the car. The most important thing about this corner is to keep the car as far to the right-hand side as you possibly can. To really open up turn 2 so you get that good drive down this first long straight. So really, if you're looking at as we start to turn in left, you really want the car on this right-hand side of the track. Okay, 3rd gear, as you can see, we're already back to 100% throttle as soon as we possibly can. Again, you don't really want to be using much of this inside curb because it will tend to unsettle the car and can throw you out towards this outside wall on the outside of the track. As you'll see from the hot lap, I delayed the shift up to 4th just a little bit. So if we go back a minute. So as you can see, we're up to 100% throttle. We're in 3rd gear here. As we come around the corner, we're flat out. The car is going to be screaming at you to go up into 4th gear. If you delay that shift up into 4th gear, there you go. There's the shift up to 4th right there. If you delay that shift up into 4th gear just a split second longer, just to get that extra rotation through the corner so you get a better drive down the straight and you avoid hitting this wall on the outside. Especially as we keep going around the corner, you see this little crest in the road. As the car goes over it, the car can get very loose. And it tends to chuck you out towards this outside wall a bit more. So just be very careful of that. I've done it, and I'm sure everybody has done it, where you go around this corner, you hit this little crest, and you end up in this outside wall because you're going too fast or you haven't got enough turn, or etc, etc. Okay, down this really long straight. No rush to get the car to the left-hand side, but just bring it over slowly. you're fighting with someone down the straight, they will get a draft on you, so defend the inside line. And going into this turn 3, you should have the better line, even though they will be alongside you. Okay, coming up towards turn 3. Car right on the left-hand side of the track, as close to this wall as you can get it. Brake marker is this 300 meter board. So as we see, as we hit the 300 meter, we're off the gas on the brake pedal. Quite a hard braking zone, up to about 75%. Here. We're going to hit the 100 meter board, and then we're going to start to turn the car in. Now this is one of the mistakes that I made on my lap. As you can see already, the car is far too slidely. I kind of get away with it here, but you don't want to be doing this. You want to be using some more slow down, maybe that split second sooner. Take some more inside curb here, and you really don't want the car sliding through this corner like I have, because it's probably cost me a tenth or so, or half a tenth. I kind of got away with it though on the exit of this corner. Let the car drift to the outside. As you can see, I kind of messed the corner up. I'm on the grass here, using all this curb. Really, any more than this, and it would have been an off track. As I get back onto the road here, back to chase cam, coming up towards this next corner, keep the car to the left hand side of the track. We're in 3rd gear, and we're going to keep the car in 3rd gear here. So as we come up towards the corner, we're going to start to turn the car in, then we're going to lift off. I've used a little bit of brake here, very slightly, but really there's no need to. You will gain more time by not braking, so as we come into the corner, there's no need to brake. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but really I try not to. As you come into towards the corner, lift off, no need for any brakes, hit the inside curb. You can really take a lot of curb here, especially on an SPO 0. If you're using a lower SPO like a 2 or 3, then you can't take so much of this curb. But you don't really gain a lot of time out of it anyway. So, lots of curb, let the car drift to the left-hand side, avoiding the wall on the left. As you can start to tell around this track, we get very close to walls a lot of the time. Just surprised I don't crash more often around here, to be honest. Bring the car back to the right-hand side of the track, keeping it in 3rd gear. As we're coming up towards this next corner, you see this little kink in the wall, and that's what we're going to use as the brake marker. If I bring it back a little bit and go to cockpit, you'll see this little kink marker in the wall here as we come towards it. So just as we hit it is our braking point, up to about 50% braking and down to 2nd gear. Turn the car into the left, and you really want to kind of sweep the car. It's hard to explain. Sweep the car in around this corner nice and cleanly. As you can see, I'm taking curb here. It's not really what you want to do. It didn't cost me any time on this lap, but it can unsettle the car and again throw you out into this outside wall over here. So in most laps I do tend to avoid this curb a lot of the time, but on this lap it didn't cost me any time, but just be a bit wary of that. You see, I kind of didn't get back to 100% throttle as soon as I wanted to, so maybe it did cost me a little bit. Let the car drift to the right hand side of the track, avoiding this little kink in the wall. It catches a few people out, and I've seen a lot of people end up in this wall, so just be a bit careful. I'm sure I'm going to be saying that a lot of times doing this track, right? And I avoid the wall. Don't end up in the wall. Okay, coming up to this corner, we're going to come up in the 3rd gear. Now this corner is probably one of the most important corners on the track to get right. Quite a difficult corner because you've really got to get close to this wall on the right hand side. You really need to get back on the power early because this is the biggest straight. Yeah, probably the biggest straight of the course. You really need a good exit out of this corner. So 3rd gear. If I go to cockpit view a minute, you'll see if I just bring it. This is where I start the brake. So I'm looking at these adverts on the right hand side here, and just as the adverts get to the edge of my screen here is where I start braking. So in third gear, we're going to drop it down to second gear. It's not very much braking needed. Start to turn the car in. You really need to get really close to this inside wall here. And not too close to it here. It depends how much you want to risk it. Again, as I said on previous corners, if you clip this inside wall, you are ending up in this outside wall here. And there is nothing that you can do about it. So it depends how much you want to risk it, how much you're willing to catch the person in first, or how much you're willing to risk, how much speed you want to risk going down the straight, I should say. But get as close to it as you possibly can. As you can see, I'm already back to 100% throttle even before we can see the outside of the course. Here. 100% throttle at this point in the corner. We're not even halfway around the corner. We're back to 100%. That's how early you need to get back on the power. But as I said, be wary of this inside wall here. Let the car drift to the left-hand side, avoiding that wall. If you clip that curb, you will end up in that wall. Keep the car to this right-hand side of the track as you go down this long straight. And then bring it back to the left-hand side. I like to keep the car in the middle of the track here, coming up towards this next corner, because as you can see, I am lining the car up. If you see this wall, I am lining the car up. So as I hit the brake marker across these two lines on the road, hit the two lines on the road, and as I start to come onto the brakes, I'm lining the car up perfectly parallel with this wall. You want to brake in parallel from 5th gear all the way down into 2nd, parallel with this wall without hitting it. 2nd gear, turn the car in. You can really use a lot of curb here again, and then back on the power as soon as you possibly can. Where am I again? There you go. I'm starting to get back onto the power about 60%. Just before I hit the apex. As we come off the apex, I'm back to 100% powering towards this wall. Again, avoid that wall. It can catch a few people out because of that little kink in the wall that comes out. Down towards the next one. Again, there's a nice wall to brake alongside. So just as we hit this wall is our brake marker. We're going to brake in parallel with this short little bit of wall. So you got this. You've got this bit of wall that comes around here, and then you've got this sharper bit of wall down this little bit here. Hit it, and then you brake in parallel in this. I keep using my hands in this direction. In this direction, keeping the car in 2nd gear. Something that I should mention is the car is probably gonna go up to 3rd gear here. Just keep it in 2nd because there's no need to go up to 3rd because you're just going to have to come back on down into 2nd gear again. Just keep it in 2nd. Brake parallel with the wall. 2nd gear, turn the car in. Now you really want to get this inside, this left front wheel, you really want to dig this in. That's the only way I can think to describe it, is to dig this wheel into this corner. As you can see. Dig the wheel into the corner, around, back to 100% throttle, out towards the outside wall again. Quite a nice flowy corner. Once you get it right, you should understand what I mean. Okay, up to arguably the most trickiest part of the course now. We're going to go from 2nd gear up into 3rd gear, still 100% throttle. As we come round, keep to the left, let the car drift to the right hand side a little bit. Still in 3rd gear. As we come towards this next corner, lift off the power. So yeah, kind of coasting around here. As we go around that corner, I get back on the throttle just for a split second, not for very long. Some people like to drop it when they when people lift it here, they like to drop it to 2nd gear. I find that it's quicker to leave it in 3rd gear around here. Get back on the power a little bit, and then as you come off, and then go from 2nd immediately down, from 3rd gear, sorry, immediately down to 1st gear in the braking zone. I've tested both ways, and me personally, I prefer to do it this way rather than going down the second earlier in the corner. But give it a go, guys, and see how you like it. Again, this right front tyre is really important. You really need to dig it into this corner, so to speak. So you can get around this corner. When I first started driving this track, I was tending to take this corner a bit fast, which meant I was needing to really slow down on the exit. As the saying goes, guys, you want to slow down on the entry to this corner, and then you got a really fast exit. So if you're struggling with it, just slow down on this entry a bit more, and then you should get a much better drive out of the corner, especially as the road is a bit uneven on the exit. As you see, first gear, back to 100% throttle. Let the car drift to the left-hand side. Road's a bit uneven, but it's okay. Right, keeping the car to the left-hand side of the track. Coming down towards the next corner, third gear. The car at this very moment is going to want to go up to fourth gear. The same as a couple of corners ago. You're going to want to keep the car in the third gear. Don't bother going to fourth because you'll have to come back down to third again. Pointless. So, third gear, coming towards this corner, we're looking at the 200 meter board as the brake marker. The very nice thing about this track, pretty much every corner has got a nice brake mark that you can see and use on every lap. So, 200 meter board, off the power, onto the brakes. Not very much braking this time, slightly up to about 50% and then back off it. Keeping the car in third gear. Turn the car in, let it slide around the corner. Drifting the car to the left-hand side. Again, this corner is probably slightly slower than you expect it. Only because you want this next corner needs to be flat out, especially with this drive down this last straight. Just be a bit careful about going into this outside wall. Again, and I'm sure I've said that about 10 times during this lap now, just avoid all walls here, guys. Walls are not good. Just avoid them. Okay, if you've done it right, guys, this next corner is 100% throttle. You may need a slight lift on cold tyres, but once the tyres are warm after 2 or 3 laps, this corner is flat out. So just hold the acceleration flat out all the way around. Third gear, let the car drift to the left-hand side, avoiding the wall again for the 20th time. Up in the fourth gear. Bring the car to the right-hand side of the track. And across the start-finish line. So, there we have it, guys. There's the track guide again done for this week. I hope you find it very useful. If you do, please remember to smash the like button on the video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. As ever, guys, if you've got any comments, any different lines, anything at all, drop a comment on the video as well down below. And I will see you next week.